Towson Lacrosse coming off a thriller in overtime over Delaware on Saturday. A lot of fun, although I'm going to guess our next guest would probably say, yeah, we would have liked if we would have given up a few less goals in the process, but a win is a win. Joining us now here on GCR, senior defender for the Tigers. It's a pleasure to welcome in Conor Spagnolli, who's with us on the program. Conor, it's Glenn. It's great to chat with you, man. Thank you so much for taking the time for us.
Yeah, Glenn, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be on here today.
Conor, winning is all that matters, right? Like I know that you're going to tell me about how you don't like the fact they put up 18 goals, but at the end, getting the win is the part that matters, correct?
I mean, at the end of the day, getting the win is the mission of of our team. To CAA victory, we knew it wasn't going to be easy, but like you said, on the defensive end, there's some things that we got to clean up. But a win's a win in the CAA, and we got to continue to stack those.
Can you take me through what like it just felt like that was a needed, I think is the word that we come away with, not just because of the CAA, but given how the season had started and what we know you guys are capable of. Was it a relief? Was it exuberation? What was the reaction after Mikey scored the goal in overtime to get you that much needed win?
Yeah, no, it's definitely a mix of excitement and, kind of a relief. I think, the guys in the locker room have all the trust in each other. And I think, our record doesn't really show how talented of a team we are. And, that game right there just showed how powerful our offense can be. And, we've had games in the past where our defense has been pretty solid. So the ability to connect those two and, have a really high scoring game with our offense, but play great defensively, I think we're going to be a really dangerous team. So, it's exciting to see, our offense put up 18 goals, obviously, or 19 goals, but obviously, like we said, there's some things that we got to clean up. But it's exciting to see the route that, this team is going to take. And, like I said, everyone in the locker room knows of what we're capable of, being. It's just, that the record, we've had some struggles early on in the season, but, like I said, it's one game at a time. It's continuing to stack those wins. And, like I said, a CAA win's a CAA win, and,
No
you just
question.
got to continue to, stack those.
Particularly against Delaware, who you know is going to be in it with you guys down the stretch. There's no doubt about that.
Oh,
Um,
for sure.
Conor, you bring that up, right? Like, I think everybody in the country knows that you're better than those results the first couple of weeks. And I know that you were banged up, as a team coming into the season as well. What is it that you feel like still needs to click to get to that place where you guys can get back to playing that level where you can repeat as CAA champion?
I think it all comes down to consistency on both sides of the ball, in the middle of the field, our face-off units, our riding clear scheme. It's all consistency. There's glimpse in each game of, what we can look like, but, as our record shows, glimpse don't lead to success. We have to put full games together, and, that starts with practice. It starts coming in every day, consistently, putting in the work that we need to, um, achieving what's on our scouting report, really just diving in with each other and being consistent. And I think that's going to be shown in these next couple of games when we're starting to click. And that's going to really prove, why, we got so much hype, but also, what team we can be at the end of the season.
I was gonna say, Conor, is there like a part of you as a senior that, like, from a 10,000 foot view, could say, is there any chance that maybe, given the success you had a year ago, guys needed to be reminded, like early on this year, it's not easy. Like, we don't just get the win because everybody thinks we're good. Like, we still have to
Yeah.
go do the work.
No, it's fair point. Yeah. And I think, the guys in the locker room know that, this year is a different team, which is a different personality. And I think, early on we struggled to adapt to that. But now, that we're not getting down on ourselves for that, our early season losses. We're trying
Yep.
to, get the puzzles, in pieces and everything. And, back to that consistency point, play to the standard of Towson lacrosse and play to what we know we're capable of. We do have a lot of experience on this team to be a talented team. It just comes down to that consistent play, which we know we can get out of each other, and we see it, in practice day in and day out.
He is Conor Spagnolli, Towson's senior captain. He's with us here on GCR. The Tigers are home again this Saturday at noon against Stony Brook over at United Stadium. And I saw there's going to be a camo hat giveaway for the first 500 fans. So I got a busy schedule, but I'm going to have to send somebody over there to get one of those for myself. Conor, I gotta talk about your path, right? Because I know there was a cool opportunity a couple weeks ago with the game against Virginia down in Houston for you to go back and play in Texas. What did that mean to you? And I guess we got to just know, how does a kid growing up in Texas come to lacrosse, end up at
Yeah.
Towson? Not the traditional path.
Yeah, no, for sure. Being down in Houston for a game was surreal for me. when I signed to come to Towson to play lacrosse, I never expected to play a Division I lacrosse game in Texas.
Yeah.
So it was a really cool moment. A lot of family there, a lot of friends were able to come down. Obviously didn't have the outcome we wanted, but to be in that environment, to see some old high school coaches that, I played against, seeing all these young, individuals that are learning the sport, it was a surreal moment for me. But for me growing up, lacrosse, it was my cousins are from, Long Island, so it kind of
Okay.
got passed down that way. Our family's from New York, so was able to see my older cousin, play lacrosse, and then eventually my older brother picked it up. So they kind of brought it down, to Texas for us. And, you know, I give a ton of credit to, the West Coast and kind of how it's shaping up as a lacrosse, location and a hotbed. We did a great job, I think, in club lacrosse, bringing a lot of attention to the West Coast guys. We got guys on our team from Seattle and Portland. Like, the club scene on the West Coast is getting really big, and even in Texas, it's just getting really big, and the attention that I think it deserves. So, you got a lot of young guys right now going down to Texas and coaching. You got the Anthony and Nick DeMeos, and
Yep.
in the Woodlands, you got Justin Anderson from the PLL and Keller. Like, you got these big names, creating a lot of excitement, in the state of Texas. It's probably never going to be as big as football, and that's okay. I think that's kind of been recognized, but they have that, spring season where, football players can come in and play lacrosse and enjoy the sport and, continue to grow it. I think, it's just going to get bigger in Texas and it's just going to get better. And I think it's really cool to see that process, starting from, a young individual to now being a Division I player and then having that game in Texas. It's just a really full circle moment for me to see, the continuous development, of lacrosse in Texas and in the West
I
Coast.
know Mike Pressler's been a big part of that with the Highland Park program as
Yep.
well, and my guy Jacob Stover, he was the goalie at Loyola, who's down there now too. So yeah, you're right. It continues to grow. Are you at the point now, like when you are back home, that like your friends maybe they actually know, like they don't have to ask you like, so explain this sport to me, like they're starting to understand?
Yeah, no, I've exactly. And I've had friends fly up for games because they just want to see the excitement.
That's
So,
cool, man.
lacrosse is, it's definitely getting bigger and it's definitely getting better. And it's awesome to see now.
So what is it like for you, like, coming from that place when you get to a place like Towson and you're playing big games against, the Johns Hopkins, the Syracuses of the world, like, not to say maybe you did have huge crowds, but like what has it been like for you now over these 4 years playing in these raucous atmospheres and in a place that's so lacrosse crazy?
Yeah, I think it's just like kind of a dream come true for me. Being from Texas, almost all my summers had to, be back east playing in these tournaments back in Maryland and New York and Philly. So, kind of just being around these areas, I kind of knew it was a hotbed. And that's kind of why I picked Towson. Going from, Texas all the way to Maryland, like I wanted to be in a hotbed for lacrosse if I'm going to go, make the way up there. I wanted to be in an area that's so supported by lacrosse.
Yeah.
Growing up, it was really just football, football, football. Now it's awesome, to be able to walk on, in this area and, you're playing the Hopkins, you're playing the Loyolas with big crowds and big support. So, it's kind of everything I wanted, as a, individual when I, chose to come to Towson. I knew the crowds we were going to get. I knew the support lacrosse had in this, in this environment. So, again, it's a really just surreal moment, looking back at my 4 years, like this is kind of all I've ever really dreamed about when I picked up the stick, in third grade. And, when my cousin gave it to me, like this is what I envisioned it to be in 10 times better, like playing the Syracuses, playing at Homewood Field, those are just, iconic places that you want to play as a kid. You want to be able to get to that level and, and to play in those. So, you're when you go to those stadiums and you're playing in these games, you try to soak it in as much as you can. But at the end of the day,
Yeah, you got
you
to
got to
win,
stay
right? Yeah.
focused. Obviously,
Yeah.
you're trying to accomplish a mission,
Right.
but it'd be naive to say like when you get to those stadiums, you're like, wow, like this is really Homewood Field or this is the Carrier Dome. Like it's a really just a surreal moment and like it's a big full circle because like that's all you look at as a kid is like playing at Clockner Field for Virginia, like just like everything you really dream of.
That's really cool, man. That's really cool to hear you talk about it that way. Conor Spagnolli from Towson is with us. So a year ago against Navy, you scored a goal. Did that change? Like, do you get the green light now? Like, if this season, if you're bringing it across, like, Do you get the opportunity, the thumbs up to go right ahead, or did that not change anything for you
Man,
in terms?
I wish I could sit here and say I have the complete green light. I think, the coaches trust me in those situations to make those reads, but at the end of the day, I trust my attackmen to, if they don't want to throw it back to me, they don't want to throw it back to me. I trust those
Right.
guys and their experience down low. Would love to get some more goals, obviously, but an assist or a hockey assist doesn't hurt either. And I trust those guys more with the ball than me, to be honest.
Plus, you got like no matter what, you got one. Like, you got to have that thrill that everyone who ever plays
Yeah,
defensively gets to have. Like, no one can ever take that away from you, even if
e-
it's the only one you ever have.
exactly,
That's
exactly.
that's the part that matters the most. Connor, we talk about it, right? Obviously, a year ago, you guys win the CAA. You play that thriller up at Syracuse. What it takes to do this, but then like, how much does it drive you, having had the taste, to say we know we can win in the NCAA tournament? We know that that's not our ceiling, what we did a year ago, and now particularly as a senior, how important is it to you to get back there and put yourself in position to go even further?
Yeah, no, it's definitely really important. It's a goal for all of us in this locker room. Last year we saw, we had what it took to be in the NCAA tournament. Now we have the experience, we have the guys, and we have full confidence in ourselves, that we can win the CAA, we can make the tournament, and we can make ourselves a run. And I think, that's kind of the main goal. Obviously, we got to take it one game at a time. The CAA is no cakewalk, and if anyone watches the CAA, every game and every little thing in those games are earned. And so we got to kind of take it one game at a time and not look too forward ahead of us. But yeah, it's definitely an important goal for us. Like I said, we have the experience. We know what it takes. We've played close games with those top teams. Like, we know we're capable of being in that situation. We just kind of have to earn our way now to get there. And I think we're doing that day in and day out through practice.
Love it, man. Love the sounds of that. Again, Towson back at home this Saturday against Stony Brook at noon. Conor Spagnolli, social media wise, Twitter, Instagram, anything like that, where can Towson fans be giving you a follow?
Yeah, Instagram, Twitter, just at Conor Spagnoli.
It's kind of nice about being named. It's Connor with one N, so let's make that clear.
Yes.
And there's kind of the nice part about having a name like Conor Spagnoli is you don't really have to fight people for it on social media.
Exactly, exactly. It's all just one little thing.
It,
Every social media is the same.
that works out all right for you. Connor, congratulations on a huge win for you guys, and looking forward to seeing how that springboards you guys moving forward throughout CAA play. Thank you for taking the time for us this morning, man. We really enjoyed this.
Yeah, of course. Thank you guys for having me on.